So, the World Athletics Foundation came out with their final ruling for the Nike Next Percents, the Hoka Carbon Nexus, all those new innovations in shoe technologies. They came up with their ruling. Just a couple videos ago, I was talking about how I think it would be the death of innovation if they were to ban the Nike Next Percents. And did they? Let's do this bike and then let's talk about their verdict. Now we're ready. And we're done. So what exactly did the World Athletics Group do in regards to these Nike Next Percent and all this new shoe technology coming with carbon plates, titanium plates, who knows what they're coming up with. But essentially what they did is they put together a working group. And this working group consisted of scientific officials, technical officials, even a legal team, and of course, the athletes. They all sat down, they looked at this shoe and tried to figure out, does it actually have a true performance advantage or is it all in the mind? And what they found was there was a true, tangible performance advantage to wearing these shoes compared to just some regular Joe shoes that just have normal foam. Now, this is very cool for us everyday athletes. I love it. But I can understand how the elite athletes and the governors of the sport may find that it's just a little sketchy. It kind of insults the integrity of the sport if you can just gain 4% by putting on a pair of shoes, right? So what they had to do was, as of April 30th, every shoe that an elite athlete wears to competition has to have been on the market for at least 4 months. Yes, 4 months. And if that shoe hasn't been commercially available to everyone, whether that be over a retail outlet or an online outlet, that shoe cannot be used for competition. Now, why is this so important right now? As we all know, it's an Olympic year. And of course, I'm sure that these big shoe companies wanted to put their latest prototypes and all that stuff into the Olympics to get their names out there, to say, yes, that athlete won the gold medal wearing this shoe coming February 2021. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen for them, because if it's not available as of April 30th, if it wasn't on the market for 4 months, I'm sorry, but your athletes are not going to be able to wear that. That's not all. In effect, immediately, there's a couple things. There's 3 things to be exact. There's 2 things that really contain to road running shoes, which is what a lot of us are very concerned about as triathletes and all that stuff. But there's one change specific to track running shoes. I didn't know this, but I guess track running shoes are also getting this same type of technology implemented into them with the nice carbon plate and all that jazz. So here's the 3 things they're changing right now. Right now, you're not allowed to do any of this. Number 1 is the sole cannot be thicker than 40 millimeters. And that's a pretty thick sole if you ask me. I have no clue how thick my soles are right now, but 40 millimeters seems a bit thick. I'm gonna slap up on the screen here how thick the Nike Next Percents are, because that'll be interesting. The second rule is they can only contain 1 carbon plate. And that carbon plate has to be along the same plane. It can be in the heel and the forefoot, but it can't be on separate planes. So what does that mean? Pretty much just means that the carbon has to be 1 smooth plate. It can't be stacked on top of each other, and there can't be multiple propelling you forward. Now, this is kind of interesting because I'm not sure how the Nike Alpha Fly, the prototype that Kipchoge wore to break the 2-hour marathon mark, is the Alpha Fly, and I have no clue how many carbon plates that could have in it. No one really knows that, because that was a prototype, and that is no longer going to be allowed in the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. I'm not sure how they feel about that. I'm not quite sure how Nike's feeling right now, unless they can somehow have that out commercially available in the next couple of months, and it only contained 1 carbon plate, just in a different orientation, or the foam's different. Who knows? Who knows? I'm gonna have to leave that for another video once more information comes about. And this third rule is specifically for track athletes. Now, their rules are slightly different for their shoes. They're allowed to have that same carbon plate as running shoes have, where it's along the same plane and it can't be stacked on top of each other. All that good stuff stays the same for track shoes. The one difference for track shoes is that they can have a different plate as long as the purpose of that plate is to hold the spikes onto the sole of the shoe. I'm not sure. Maybe shoe companies can have some sort of technological innovation that allows that plate that connects the spike to the shoe to give their athletes a little bit of an extra spring. I'm sure the PR and marketing team are already working on spinning it that way. Who knows? But the good thing for these athletes is that these shoes can still be modified for aesthetics. And if they have any sort of medical condition, they can have orthotics, I guess it would be, put into their shoe, as long as it's not giving any sort of performance advantage. That's all that really matters. What's really interesting about all this is that a working group hired an independent contractor to do the research, and they concluded that these shoes do give a performance advantage. So right now, they can't really ban all these shoes, even if there's a performance advantage. But they're very concerned that these shoes are getting to a point where it is starting to creep on the line of just kind of insulting the integrity of the sport just a little bit, so they want to ring it back a bit, and they want to be involved in the shoe manufacturing process now. What's coming out of all this really is that, sure, you can use all these shoes that are already available for 4 months on the market as long as everyone can get them, but we're gonna take a little bit more of a hands-on approach now. You can continue all your engineering, all that good stuff, but we're gonna continue doing our research to just see what exactly you're doing and how much of it is actually going to hurt our sport rather than push it forward in the right direction. So what they're doing is they're inviting all the shoe companies to come together, and they will actually help them along the design process and make sure that what they're releasing will be available and allowed for competition. This is only for the elites. So if the shoe companies did want to give us sub-elite or amateurs or those that just love to do long Sunday runs, the availability to have these cool, fast shoes that they're backing up their lab tests but not result in elite competition, I'd be fine with that. And I think that's what they're gonna do. And with that, I wanna give my thoughts on all this situation because I do have a couple thoughts. Like I said before, I think that Nike is very excited right now. They've just had a very big round of applause to them because they had to go and ban these shoe innovations based off of what Nike found. That just goes to show that Nike's engineering team, R&D team, all that good stuff into their running shoes is top notch. The higher ups and all the engineering teams probably freaking out, having a party right now saying, yes, we knew that these shoes are awesome, and everyone come give us your money. You'll get a lot faster if you just give us your money. Sure, we may not be able to give them to the elites, but you guys, come on over. You have a lot of money. There's millions and millions of runners that aren't elite athletes. Come on over here. And that is precisely why I don't believe it's going to slow down shoe innovation, because there's millions and millions of runners who aren't elites, and these rules don't apply to them. They still want to beat their friend in that 21K or the 5K. They want to be the fastest that they can be, so they'll still go out and buy those shoes. And with all that said, I do definitely agree with a lot of the rulings here today. I do think that having an extra 4% advantage for the elites who make a living from this sport and whose all sponsorships depend on them, having that extra 4% advantage just by putting on a pair of shoes, I don't think that that's necessarily right. If your competitor has to wear a pair of Brooks and you get to wear the Nike Next Percents and you get to win by like a fraction of a second because of the shoes, I don't think that that's great. And I think it's a great stand by the World Athletics Foundation to be able to go in, help these shoe manufacturers along the way so they don't have to innovate, spend all this money on R&D just to find out that they can't use the technology that they so dearly love, they've been working on for a while. Cheers, World Athletics. You did a great job today. And with that said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. What's your thoughts on this? Do you think that the World Athletics Foundation made the right call? Or do you think that they kind of went across the line a little too far or not far enough? Do you think that they should have said all shoes are gone? I don't know. You know my opinion. I want to hear yours. Leave a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button if you so like to do. And remember, have a great day. Keep on smiling. Keep pushing hard.